Hello, everyone. Well,
Hello, everyone.
hi. Well,
Lovely to see regular faces, new faces, all just coming in. Wonderful. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, we're well impressed that you've shown up. We were just discussing whether we would show up on a beautiful summer's evening after such a crappy summer so far. But anyway, those of you that are here, thank you very much for showing up and supporting us. Those in the Southern Hemisphere, I sincerely hope that you are keeping warm, and that you are, yeah, keeping warm and dry. And all those all over the world and other places, a very warm or cold welcome to you. I'm not sure where you all are. So welcome, everybody. I'm really excited about tonight for a number of reasons. One is I really enjoyed the masterclass, and what I took away from the masterclass was that there was something current about it, although we were using ancient wisdom, and there is a very old traditional um, craft or art. What came through for me was it was still relevant today, and sort of sitting with the card that I chose, which was the Wheel of Fortune, and just thinking about where I am in my journey and how relevant that was, and the cup that I chose and how relevant that was. For those of you who weren't here last time, please don't worry, because the two are separate. And today, I'm really looking forward to today, and I'll tell you why. Because Sully's going to be doing almost like a little class with us. It's a mini workshop. So that's going to be great. And I've decided that what we are going to do as well is I'm going to just talk a little bit about what's coming afterwards. So rather than waiting to the end, I'm just going to share with you that we have a special until the 31st of July. So you've got till midnight if you want to get a discount. If you are a resident in South Africa, you will get 150 Rand discount, which takes it down to an affordable price of 1,550, and you would get a £15 discount if you book before the 31st of July. There are payment plans. You are able to do different things. So Sole will be running a course. Sole, it's from the 16th of September to the 25th of November. So you can still have your summer and enjoy your holidays and then come back, because really from about the second week in September, it's kind of crunch time till Christmas, till silly season. And it's a time when we all do, um, good question, Julianne. Um, you can access the discount by, in the recording, there will be a link. In fact, I will pop the link in the chat now, which you've got. Let me just do that. I can just do two things at once. Let me. The reason why I'm talking as much as possible is I'm actually going to have to shut up tonight because it's Saleh's many
everything is now.
workshops. So I'm going to have to sit there as a student and be in the reverse role and shut up. So I'm trying to talk as much as possible now while I've got my opportunity. So without further ado, I'd love us just to do a beautiful grounding exercise and just come into our bodies, come into the present moment, access that beautiful earth energy that is available to us, and just connect to the source of all creation. So if we just follow the breath and just breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in love and breathing out love. Breathing in love. Breathing out love. One last time, breathing in love and breathing out love. And as you do, just feel yourself getting heavier, and connecting to Mother Earth. Just accessing the safety, the groundedness, the secureness of the earth energy through your roots or your anchors. Just allowing yourself to ground into Mother Earth. And as you do, we just feel her innate intelligence and her infinite wisdom coming up the roots, up into the base of the spine, and just steadying your energy. Just feel this beautiful steadying energy flowing in and around you, allowing you to just focus a little bit, to be in the present. And then we connect from the heart to the highest point of light, the source of all creation, to that beautiful energy, as we allow that energy to come down and flow through the heart. And we just allow that universal energy to flow in and around us, centering us, guiding us, holding us safely and securely. And we just connect to each other's energy, because there's a beautiful way of learning together, of connecting together and learning together. And we just access that beautiful connective energy as we place this container in a beautiful bubble of light, wisdom and knowledge, accessing the ancient arts with a beautiful current narrative. And once you feel grounded and centered, just start bringing yourself back into the call. And Soleil, I'll hand over to you. Maybe introduce yourself. I didn't even get to that.
I will do. I will introduce myself, although I recognize loads of you lovely people. So hello again, if we've met already, and hello and welcome if you're new. I'm going to share some slides this evening, and I promise they're not the boring ones. They're the nice, colorful, informative ones that actually add some value. And we're going to learn loads of really exciting things this evening. So let me get started with sharing and introducing myself. But please, if there are any questions, if you would like to interact, feel free to use the chat box, and there will be plenty of time at the end as well to ask for guidance and questions, and you will get personalized readings throughout the workshop. So it is not a standard cookie cutter experience. It's going to be very, very personal to you. Okay, so with all of that said, let's go into, hopefully you can see now my screen. So welcome to Hands-on Tarot. This evening, we are going to look at some practical skills and intuitive reading techniques to learn about tarot. So if you are an absolute beginner, if you are someone who perhaps has been working a little bit in and out with tarot, maybe you've been using online guides, maybe you've been using booklets, but you don't feel very confident, or if perhaps you're someone who has learned tarot a very long time ago and wants a little bit of a refresher, then you're in the right place. And Cindy, could I ask you, can we make sure everyone is muted and there is no background noise, please? Thank you. So what we are going to do this evening is focusing on just learning something new together. But before we do that, let me introduce myself. And can I just check with people, can you see me spotlighted in the speaker view?
No.
Okay, hope so. Let's get that done. How about that?
Yes.
Lovely, thank you. All righty. So before we continue, who am I? What am I? If we haven't met before, my name is Sole Kirko. I'm a spiritual and energy coach and a healer. And one of my oldest and greatest passions is tarot. And I've been reading tarot since when I was a young teenager. So it's been almost 30 years of experience reading for myself, for friends and family, and for loads and loads of clients throughout the years. So at this point, I had thousands of client sessions and I had hundreds of tarot students. So what started around 10 years ago as a tiny little group of students, literally around my kitchen table, has become the course that we're running now at the school. Had loads of different students throughout the years. Some of them are here this evening, which is really lovely to see. And this evening, we're going to learn some of those techniques. So this is going to be basically a mini session, a mini workshop, a mini lesson, but the fun type. So this evening we will learn two buckets of different things, a little bit about the structure of the tarot. We're not going to go into super in-depth, super detailed information, but we need to get a bit of that information first so that we understand the instrument. The tarot is like a musical instrument or a language, if you will. So we need to get to know some of those basics so that we can use the tarot and understand the cards that are presenting themselves to us. So we'll take a little look at the difference between majors and minor arcana, and then we'll take a look at the four suits and the elemental association. That's for the structure. And then in terms of how to, we will focus on reading tarot. Even if you've never ever even seen a tarot deck, that's fine. You don't need one for this evening. We will receive a message. In fact, we'll receive two messages. We're going to do two personalized readings, and we will start building your personal connection with the cards. So that sounds hopefully like a nice evening together for us to learn and expand our connection with tarot. Before we begin, this evening, I'm going to use something that is called the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There are many, many different types of tarot decks. That's the one that I'm going to use this evening. Some of the images are not pretty. They are quite violent or gruesome. Some of the names, like the devil, can be a little bit scary. Please rest assured, there are no good and no bad cards. Some of the images might be a little bit more direct in their energy, but there are no good and no bad cards. So everything has a light and everything has a shadow. So please bear that in mind as we go through the evening, so that you don't contract in your energy and feel worried that maybe you selected a card that looks negative in any way. And the other thing that is really, really important to me is the power of tarot in the same way as the power of astrology readings and psychic readings and mediumship readings is about empowering you and empowering your clients if you're interested in learning tarot for other people. Empowering them in having hope and options and clarity on the way forward is not about giving them a jail sentence. So we're not here to limit options or to talk about outcomes that are set in stone. I believe we are masters of our own destiny, and we have flexibility in our path and how we approach challenges and our needs and our desires. So I will always ask you to bring together this evening, and if you join me for the course, this will be a bit of a theme, very clear intentions. Really be clear about what is important for you to know this evening. What are the things that you want to bring into your energy field? Let's always work with empowering questions. So how can we do something rather than will it break up with me or not? Will I get the job or not? Those are very disempowering questions, right? Especially yes and no questions can be very disempowering. If we get a yes, then we might be hopeful, but we don't really know for sure something is going to happen, right? And if we get a no, then we go into that contracted energy that is not very helpful. So I will talk about empowering questions as well this evening, and context. Tarot is a tool that is centuries old, and it can talk about anything and everything that happens in your life and your energy in the world. You can use tarot to do readings about current affairs and politics, all sorts of different things. So it's really important that we're clear about the context of our question. So clear intention, empowering question, and context will give you a beautifully aligned, relevant, and powerful answer and guidance. So that's the intention that we're setting for this evening. Okay. With all of that said, we need to do a little bit of practical tarot structure teaching moment. Now, you can read the tarot in a completely intuitive way. Just pick any card and see what speaks to you in that card. And that is completely relevant, completely legitimate. I'm not here to police how you use your spiritual tools. That's entirely up to you. But if you know a little bit about the structure of tarot, it would really help you adding depth and different layers of information to what you to the guidance that you receive. And you know, even the best intuitives, the most psychic people, we always can get into the situation where we just draw a blank, like we don't know, like the messages are not coming through, or we feel a little bit flustered, or we get a little bit nervous. So having an understanding of the structure of tarot really allows us that background knowledge to get us started when maybe the messages are not flowing through in an intuitive way. And also, if you don't consider yourself to be intuitive, although I can see there are a lot of intuitive people with us this evening, that's fine. You can still get amazing guidance from tarot by just learning a little bit about the structure and using information and knowledge that you already have. So, two things that you need to know. The cards in each and every tarot deck are 78. There are exceptions. We're not going to talk about that. That's the standard, 78 cards. And these cards are divided in two groups. The major arcanas, that are also called majors or trump cards on one hand, and the minor arcanas or minors. Now, the major arcanas, they're numbered from 0 to 21. There are 22 cards in total. They sometimes get referred to as the Fool's Journey, and they're all about big life lessons. Big change, big energetic shifts, big archetypes influencing your journey and influencing perhaps the journey of your client. So this is a long-term influence, and they typically require a big mindset shift. So the way that I often describe this is, imagine driving through a very large city. Like imagine driving through London from east to west, from north to south. It would take you a very long time to drive through the entire city. And it is a little bit the same with the major arcana. It's such a big, such expansive energy that it might take us sometimes to work our way through that energy. And if you were with us for the other masterclass, we talked about actually major arcana in the context of being the energy that rules your birthday year, and in some cases even like longer. So it might take up to 12 months to go in and out a certain energy, depending on how you work through energy and so on and so forth. So big, large, major, the clue is in the name, energy. The minor arcana, now I don't want you to think that they're like just little insignificant things, because they're not. And anyone who had maybe an issue finding parking, paying a bill, getting hold of customer service, like day-to-day things can be as annoying as big things. So when I say minor arcana, I don't want to belittle the power and the depth of these cards. But they tend to be things that are more concerned with everyday issues and concerns. And they tend to have a shorter term influence. So back to the analogy of driving through a city, you would be driving through a smaller city. Maybe you're driving through Brighton, maybe you're driving through Bath. It would be a smaller city. It takes a shorter amount of time to drive through this energy. They typically provide really good day-to-day guidance and practical, actionable advice. So they're really great to get the day-to-day actions going. And with the majors, we were in the realm of the big mindset, archetypal, energetic shifts. With the minors, we are in the realm of shifting a little bit our actions, going in a smaller capacity, tweaking our energy in a smaller capacity. Okay, there are 56 in total, and they are divided in 4 suits that are actually not very different from the suits in the playing cards. The structure is also relatively similar to playing cards. So there is a 1 or an ace up to a 10. Those are the numbered card. And then you have 4 court cards. So that would be the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. Again, somewhat similar to what you would encounter in playing cards. This is just a little bit of the structure so that you have that, and feel free to screenshot this if you want to take a screenshot of this slide, so that you have a little bit of background on what we're going to approach. All good? Let me stop sharing for a second. Okay. Good. Let me know if there are any questions. Good. All right. Okay. So I talked about the suits. And again, if you're familiar with playing cards, this is going to be something that you know already. And what I always find fascinating about the tarot is you might not know the tarot, but the tarot knows you. There is something about that universal energy that the tarot holds that makes that communication a lot easier than what you might think. So, and I will demonstrate this to you in a moment. We're going to dive into the suits, and I'm going to give you an example of how much you already know about tarot. So the suits, as I said, there are 4, and they are pentacles, they are cups, they are wands, and they are swords. Each of these elements is connected with each of these suits is connected with a element. So let's begin with the pentacles. Now, the pentacles are connected with the element of earth. So I would like you, if you have a piece of pen and paper or somewhere where you can jot down your ideas and thoughts, you can do this in the chat as well. Start thinking about the qualities of earth as an element. And you can think about this from a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level. Go as obvious as you can. Like, what are the qualities of earth? What does earth as an element do? Just have a think about that and start thinking about this element. And you will realize that actually you know a lot about the suits of pentacles. So if, for example, you're getting a sense that the pentacles and earth is quite a feminine energy, right? We refer to Gaia, we refer to Mother Earth, we refer to the fertility of the land and earth, and it's an element that keeps us grounded, right? We use earth for grounding. It's something that perhaps is quite slow in its energy, right? It's not quite as quick as fire or as rapid as air, but it's quite grounding and solid. So it makes us feel protected, supported. But also when I think about earth, I think about, because of that slowness, I feel that like things that are in the realm of earth might take a little bit of time to develop. is not something that grows overnight. If you think about a tree wouldn't grow overnight. It would take years or decades to grow. So it has that element, that quality to it. So again, start thinking about other things that you do, that you know about pentacles. So qualities that are associated with pentacles and with earth, I'm going to use them as kind of synonyms for the purposes of this. Stability, security, abundance, right? Practicality. When we think about the land, we say, you know, someone who's down to earth, that's saying, right? So practicality is someone that is very practical. So start thinking about the suits in conjunction with the elements. And again, you will see that you're very, very knowledgeable about the 4 suits already. So I've given you the first one, and we're going to do the other 3 together. All right. So the second one, cups. Cups are connected with water. Again, I'm going to stop sharing and encourage you perhaps in the chat, or if you want to mute yourself, to just let me know when you connect with the element of water, what comes up for you? What are immediately the ideas, the feelings, the qualities of water that come up for you? Start thinking, is it a masculine energy flow? Yes, definitely. Water is flow.
Emotions.
Emotions, yes. Change, flowing, cleansing, yes, absolutely. And then we have emotions, I think, nourishing, yes, absolutely. Does it feel feminine or masculine as an energy? Gentle, yes. Cleansing, feminine, yes, definitely a feminine energy. Yeah, definitely a feminine energy. It is a little bit faster than earth, right? Feminine and emotional, Amanda, yes, absolutely. So it's a little bit faster perhaps than earth when we look at the speed and the of the energy, right? So still not quite as fast as fire or air. It's like you can see that we're adding movement and flow. And one of the qualities of water is we can find water in so many different forms, right? It can be liquid, it can be frozen, it can be steam, it can be you know, in the form of rain, it can be a river, it can be a lake. So there is a lot of transformation that can happen in the element of water, right? So it's very connected with our emotions, as quite a few of you have already mentioned, but also our intuition, right? The depths of our intuition, and for that reason also our subconscious. So we might find that water is quite a reflective, deep, you know, the waters run deep type of element. Yeah. So you see, we know already quite a bit about these suits, right? So this is cups. Now, wands. Can anyone guess what's the elemental association with wands? We had pentacles for earth, and we had cups for water. Fire, yes, exactly. So wands are connected with the element of fire. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to start showing you some of the cards, just so that you, if you haven't seen them before, get a little bit of a sense of what they look like in real life. And I'm going to show you the aces. So we talked about the pentacles. So in the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is what a pentacle ace looks like, or an ace of pentacles, I should say. Yeah. And then we talked about cups. This is what the Ace of Cups looks like. So these are the 2 of them next to each other. And now we're shifting into the energy of wands. So wands is fire, correct. And what are the qualities of fire? I mean, the first thing that we notice is quite a big difference. We are transitioning from round holding shapes to actually something that's like a stick or a wand. So we go from a holding feminine energy into masculine energy, right? So loads of keywords here. So transmuting, yes. Fast, transformative, absolutely. Transformation, fast, ignites. Passionate, yes, absolutely. So wands and the element of fire carries on the positive side, on the light side, the element of creation and movement and adventure, inspirational, warmth. Yes, absolutely. So when you look at the elemental associations, I feel especially as spiritual people, we always think about unicorns and archangels and high vibration. And sometimes the cards are only talking to you about what you should have for dinner or what should be your plan for the weekend. So it's quite good to remind ourselves, actually, the fire is hot and warmed. So it might be that you're traveling to a warm country. It might be that there is a particularly hot day, like it is today in the UK. So think about all the different levels. As I said, the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. Taking action, purifying, love that. Destructive, yes, absolutely. So I was going to get exactly to that point, and Geisha, I've seen your question. I'll come to you in a second. So all the elements and all the cards have a light side and a shadow side, right? So for example, with the wands, yes, we have the beautiful creativity, the self-expression, the growth, the personal fire, you know, that fire, the personal power, that fire that burns inside of us. But we can also get this element associated to being angry, short-term, short-tempered, volatile. So all the elements, all the cards always hold the energy in the full spectrum, from the lightest and brightest light to the darkest shadow. Geisha, I think you have your head.
Yeah. Can I ask whether wands can relate to desires?
Absolutely. Passion, intimacy, sex, desire, not just sexual desire, desire in general. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So very relevant. Thank you. Okay. Lastly, we have swords. So quite easy to figure out what swords are related to, because it's the only element that we've got left is air. What do we associate this element with? First of all, do we think it's masculine or feminine? I'll give you a little clue. I'll give you a little clue. Do we think it's masculine or feminine? For context, I'm going to cover my face with my teaching cards now. Right? Feminine, masculine, right? Quite clearly masculine element, yes, absolutely. And what do we think about this element? What do we know already, right? Let's see. Lots of people saying masculine. Yeah, quite clear that it's masculine. Intellect. Yes, intellect. Freedom. Yes, I love that. What other ideas? Yes, absolutely. What else do you associate with this element? Truth seeking. Yes, communication. Fast. It's very fast, right? If you compare what we started from with Earth, that, you know, the tree takes years and years to grow, and then we connect with the energy of the swords, you know, the wind can change quite quickly, right? Movement. Interesting, Ash, you say health. You will have to let me know in the chat why that's coming up for you. Interesting association. Okay, so thoughts, communication, truth, clarity, logic, rationality. I often say swords are connecting with everything that is from the neck and above. So our leadership, our listening skills, our communication skills, our brain, thoughts, ideas, rationality, but also if we talk in terms of chakras, throat, brow, and crown. So also our worldviews, perhaps our spirituality, our life philosophy, our purpose. Again, on the flip side of that, we can have the negative or the shadow side of it. So we can have manipulation, for example. So someone who is really good at communication to the point that they manipulate a situation. Okay, so I'm going to show you how the elements carry across the different suits. So we had a little look at the aces, and you've seen how similar they all are, but different and individual. So if we take another step in the direction of the journey for each suit, here I have the twos. So 2 as a number typically represents things such as duality or choice, sometimes union or a balancing act. And you can see how through the lens of the different elements, the energy of the 2 is expressed. So we have the 2 of Pentacles. This might be someone that maybe is juggling a lot of practical things. It might be financial concerns or financial issues, or it might be as simple as juggling someone's calendar, someone's routines, dropping off the kids, going to work, commuting somewhere, etc. The cups, the interpretation here is very much connected with feelings, emotions, relationships. So here the 2 represents partnership, 2 people coming together in a romantic way, but can be partnership in many different ways. A bond, this could be 2 best friends, this could be siblings that are very close and best friends, that sort of energy. When we get to the wands, the energy really shifts. So the wands here are about adventure. The man is holding the globe on his hand. The world is his oyster. He's looking out to see what might come his way. So it's a quite an expansive, adventurous, entrepreneurial type of suit. And when we get to the 2 of Swords, I said this at the beginning, some of these cards are not the most uplifting in the Rider-Waite-Smith. There are reasons why I use this deck to teach, very good reasons. But with the swords, very often you will see that they are the cards that really ask you to think out of the box. So yes, this lady here perhaps is protecting herself, guarding her heart. Maybe she is blocked. Maybe she is in between 2 ideas. Remember, swords are thoughts and ideas and options. So maybe here she is in between 2 ideas and 2 options. But she feels like she's quite closed up, right? So this is an example of how the elements translate into the cards. And if you need an even clear example for the knights, which typically are agent of change and talk an action, you will see how actually the Knight of Pentacles, the horse has all 4 legs on the ground. It's not the fastest of the horses or the knights. And as we get into the element of the cups, the horse starts raising 1 leg. In the wands, we have a little bit more action, and with the swords is full speed ahead. So hopefully you can see how the different elements play out in the context of the different cards. Does that make sense?
Very much.
Good.
Thank you.
Solid, just a question. Could the suits be like archetypes? I'm just curious if Fred wants to, whether Fred is asking if water, fire, air, and pentacles was like the archetypes, or what that, I'm not sure what reference that was. So I just wanted to share that question with you.
So, Freddie, you can let me know if I'm interpreting this question correctly. When we talk about the tarot is laced with archetypes. There must have been like a wholesale discount when they created tarot cards, because literally every single card has so many layers of archetypes. However, typically we refer to the majors as the big major archetype. The mother, the father, justice, all of these big archetypes. Yes, there are archetypal elements in the minors as well, absolutely. But typically we refer to big archetypes when we work with the majors. Yeah. Okay, good. So this is as much as we are going to do in terms of structure. We have learned enough about the structure for this evening. I feel we are ready to receive some messages. But this gives you a sense, and I hope some confidence as well, that you know a lot more about tarot than what you might think you do. You already have quite a lot of knowledge of these energies just by virtue of existing on this plane. Now we're going to do a reading. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, remember I talked about clear intention, yeah, the beginning? We're going to set a really clear intention that the reading that we're going to receive, it's actually a reading in retrospect on today. So we're going to read backwards the day that you just had. So I would like you to focus your intention on today so far. And I would like you to reflect on how you felt throughout the day. So kind of go back, what happened, perhaps think about the people that you spent time with, the actions or tasks that you have completed, the places where you've been, and even things like what food you had for lunch. Was it overall an easy, smooth day? Or did you have some challenges? Just think about all these different aspects. Ground yourself in today, recall the day so far, and hold that intention. Okay? So the reading that we're going to receive is a reading that basically is going to mirror back to you today. So we're going to read something that we know already, so that we can give the tarot an opportunity to showcase how much that connection is already in place. Okay, so hold on to that as an intention. And what I'm going to ask you to do, just going with your intuition, don't think this through. I'm going to ask you to pick one of these 4 cards. It doesn't matter which one, just whatever comes to you, holding the intention of focusing on today, the day that you just had. I want you to pick the card that best describes your day. Either 1, 2, 3, or 4. And tell me in the chat which one you picked. And think about it. Just go for it. We have some 4s, some 3s, more 4s, a 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, more 2s, 3. Excellent. Okay. Lovely. Okay. If you haven't picked a number, now is your time before I reveal the cards. Okay. So hold on to that energy, and we're going to look at what card you picked for yourself. Okay. So if you have selected card number 1, I haven't seen many ones in the chat, but perhaps you have selected card number 1 and you didn't write down the number in the chat, is the 4 of Pentacles. Sorry, the 4 of Cups. Card number 2 is the 7 of Wands. Card number 3 is the 6 of Pentacles. And card number 4 is the Ace of Swords. Now you are going to read this card for yourself. So just take a moment to focus on the one card that you have selected and kind of start noticing what stands out to you. Think about the composition, the colors, how many people are there. Look at the sky, look at the landscape. Are there any tools or elements that grab your attention? Just start looking at the different options and information that you have there. Just see what stands out to you and make a few notes. And then we're going to add an additional layer. Remember we spoke about the suits? So you know what the elemental association is. For cups is water, for wands is fire, for pentacles is earth, and for swords is air. So see if there are any elemental qualities or characteristics that you can bring into just the initial feelings or intuitive pulls that you get from these cards. Okay, and write down, make a note for whatever comes up for you. Right? And now I'm going to ask you to take all these little informations, all these little bits, and it might be as easy or as simple as actually there's this one little element, the little really caught my attention. It doesn't need to be the full card. It might be these little coins here falling from the hand of the merchant in the Six of Pentacles into the hands of the beggar. Maybe something really, really little. Just go with that and make a note. And now connect again with your day. Remember, context is everything, right? We had a clear intention. We asked the tarot very clearly to reflect back to us our day as it was for us today. So now we can get that context. How does this card, whether it's visually or the elemental association, or just energetically, the overall feel that you get with the, from the card, connect to the day that you just had. Okay, so give you a moment to do that, and don't worry, I'll give you a little reading and insights on all four the cards in a second, but I just want to allow you an opportunity to do that independently so that you can see already what it is that you're connecting with and what the tarot is communicating to you. Right. So we already have a couple of people commenting in the chat. All right. Okay. So hopefully you kind of devised a mini reading for you now, and I'm going to add to that a few more layers. So if you've chosen card number 1, that's a 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups, again, I'm going to keep the context very simple, very relevant, very focused on today. Today, if you had a particularly hot day, it might be as simple as you should have kept a little bit more hydrated and you feel like you had enough water, but a little bit more would have been good for you. I once had this card coming up for one of my students and he just couldn't place this card. Like, I don't know, it doesn't describe my day at all. And as it turns out, it was a situation where he cleaned 3 out of 4 of his fish tanks. So 3 of them were clean. Look at the 3 cups sitting at the bottom there, but the other ones still needed to be done. So you might feel that you have achieved 3 out of 4 things, or you have achieved 3/4 of a task, that you feel like you have part of a task under control. With the 4 of Cups, there is also a sense of maybe you're focused on one part of the whole that is in front of you and you're overlooking something. Maybe you're focused on those 3 cups. Maybe you've been focusing on 3 different projects at work, but there is still another one that needs your attention. Or it might be that you're seeing some solutions, some way forwards, but you're only seeing 3 of them. And there is something else, something new, a new opportunity, something that it's flowing in, remember water, that perhaps you haven't connected with yet. With the 4 of Cups as well, there is an element of reflection, taking time out, maybe under a tree. Again, very appropriate today. If you're in the UK, some shade obviously is quite helpful today. Maybe under a tree to get that moment to rest and evaluate things. So if you chose card number 1, those are some messages that might be relevant to you and describing your day. The second card is the 7 of Wands. Now, the 7 of Wands, completely different energy. Yes, we have managed to kind of fight off different tasks, different demands, different things that we had to do today, but perhaps it felt a little bit like firefighting. Or on a positive, more light note, you had loads of idea, loads of creation, loads of things coming up, and you now need to figure out how to tidy up things, how to organize things. With the Seven of Wands, if you take a look at the feet of this gentleman, you will notice that he's wearing mismatched footwear. And there is a very clear symbolism with this. There is a sense of, yes, he has the high ground, and yes, he's fighting off whatever issues or challenges or unplanned things are coming up for him. But he's not fully prepared. Like there is an element of surprise to him finding himself fighting things off or dealing with something. So there is an element of being able to cope with something, but maybe not feeling fully prepared. So you might find yourself in a situation where you would have loved today to have more time to complete a task, or you would have loved today to have more time to reflect on something or to structure something. So that's the Seven of Wands. Card number 3, we have a 6, and is the Six of Pentacles. Now, the energy of the Six of Pentacles is very connected with finances and money and giving and receiving. So today might be a day, it's the end of the month, where you paid some bills, where you organized your finances, maybe you got paid at work and you're just distributing finances and budgets and resources in general in different areas of your life. As I said, it's about giving and receiving. So today might have been a day where maybe you could have done with a little bit more help, where it would have been more balanced for you to do a little bit less and to receive more support by others. Or again, if we keep it like very basic, very simple, just read what's on the card, is the card of charity. So if today you gave to charity, you engaged into any charitable acts, you helped somebody out, that is the card that is reflecting this energy for today. And finally, for those of you who have chosen card number 4, that's the Ace of Swords. So the Ace is a really strong suit energy. It's like the DNA of the suit. They're powerful, they're strong. And what we said about the swords is that they're about clarity, they're about conviction, they're about clearing and cleansing and cutting, and that just logic. So you might have found today that you really had to either hold very strong boundaries, cut someone, just be very clear with what is okay and what isn't, or really bring your thinking side of you, that like clear-sighted, logical, organized, structured part of you. You might have needed to really use your communication and leadership skills. And being the swords, it is also possible that you cut yourself. So maybe you were making your lunch, or you know, it could be as simple as a little paper cut, or maybe cutting your hand, chopping a salad for lunch. But with the Ace of Swords, it can also be something quite practical and physical, that actually you had a little accident. Okay, so these are the cards reflecting today. I'm going to stop and just get a sense. Are these messages resonating? Is this the day that you had? Is the tarot reflecting your day in a way that is appropriate to the day that you had? Hold on, absolutely. We have a not sure. Okay, let me know what card you picked. Definitely resonates, definitely. Pick the card that fits best. Absolutely, great. So we have a question. Please feel free to unmute yourself. Sorry, I'm not going to try you to pronounce your name because I'm going to ruin that completely.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I'm quite so surprised by how accurate it was. Because you know, when you open the card and I saw that that you were a Seven of Wands, he was me. It was actually what I was doing today, just balancing and trying to cope and you know, things being thrown at me and balancing all the time. And I was able to balance, but I never felt ready. Like everything that
Mhm.
came at me, I was like, oh no, not this one again, not this one as well, not this one. So,
Mhm.
sure, I'm quite surprised as to how accurate it can be, you know. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much for sharing. And that's the thing. That's exactly what I was saying. That like it's quite sorry, we have some background noise. Okay. It's quite incredible how much the tarot knows about you and your energy. And that's why I love it so much, because it's such a universal communication tool that just upgrades as our energy changes, our circumstances changes, the new vibration changes and expands. So it's always quite relevant. And I like that. Yes, I sold an item of jewelry. Yes. When did I pick these cards? I picked them today with the intention of being relevant for everyone today. So it was done right before we started this evening. So they're very current, they're fresh off the press. Okay, so if the card didn't resonate for you, let me know and we can chat at the end as well, and we'll see. I guarantee it will resonate. We just need to get to the right element. Yes, Kim, absolutely. If that's the element, so Kim is saying I interpreted the meaning of the three of the Six of Pentacles in a very different way. So she was more resonating with the beggars. Yes, in that card, absolutely. Sometimes it feels like to receive what you deserve, you really need to struggle. And there is this hierarchy of someone that needs to give it to you, and you feel maybe a little bit powerless. Yes. Absolutely. So again, whatever resonated with you, and hopefully the initial feelings and the initial pulls that you got from the images and the elements before I gave you the information gives you an idea of how much you have already that connection with tarot. Okay, good. All right. So my suggestion is, if you want to get to know tarot better, the daily card draw at the end of the day is a wonderful way of making that connection. When I started reading tarot was in the 90s in Sicily, in Italy. And this was before, you know, you had access to the internet or Amazon or anything like that. And actually the deck that I had didn't come with a booklet. So I was completely lost. And that's how I learned the meaning of the cards, by basically using the cards at the end of the day and just seeing what they were mirroring and reflecting back to me. So it's a really good way to make a personal connection with the cards. And it will vary a lot, especially depending on like where you live. Do you have a family? Do you travel for work? What's your profession? Are you a student? Like depending on what's your walk of life and what's your day to day, the card will resonate in a different way for you personally, depending on your circumstances. Okay. So now that we've done this, are we ready to get our second bit of guidance? And this time we're going to get that bit of guidance for the future. Now, I believe that we all have agency in our future, but I also, Maggie, I'll come to you in a second. But I also believe that it's nice to have some guidance, and it's nice to get a little bit of help along the way. So Maggie, do you want to either comment or ask your question before I go into the next?
Yeah, just a question. I have a tarot deck
Yes.
that I don't use because I don't know how to play it. Now I'm learning. But someone told me that I should keep the cards always in the order, like the crazy one and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and then ace, and then no.
Tarot is one of these things, whether it's pop culture or whether it is old wives' tales, there are so many rules. You know, it should be wrapped in black silk. You shouldn't get anyone to touch your deck. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
My belief system is you should do what resonates with you and what makes the experience of working with the tarot uplifting, empowering, and expansive for you. Some people don't. I mix everything. The only one that I keep in order is this one, my big teaching deck, just because it's easier to get the card that I want when I need it. But I always mix everything. Keeping the cards in order is quite good to reset the deck if it feels like the energy is a little bit dirty, needs a little bit of a cleanse. Sometimes the cards feel a little bit sticky, like the messages are not quite as clear. So it's nice to reset that way. But as day to day, I don't feel the need, and I don't know many people that feel the need, but equally, it's up to you. It's what resonates with you, is your deck, is your practice, is your energy. You need to do what resonates with you.
I have a very important question. While we're asking for clarity, is it important to shuffle? Is it important to just hold it? What do you recommend? Do you think shuffling and just holding to it, or what is it that you recommend that during the time you want to ask for clarity?
So I would recommend, if you can, either ground yourself or meditate or write down exactly what the situation is, what's your question. Try to get to real clarity on what you want to ask first, because complex, convoluted, difficult questions will give you really uncertain answers, and you will feel more confused than when you started. So get clarity on what is it that you want to know. What is it that you need guidance with? And then, yes, I would hold the deck, shuffle, and then pick a card. There is, by the way, in the course, there is like an entire part of the course where we talk about shuffling and clarifying cards. It's another kind of controversial topic. People do it in different ways.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
There's one more question about the card, Sala, and I think it's appropriate we ask it now. Any particular decks you would recommend?
Yes. Okay. So I always recommend the Rider-Waite Smith. I call it Smith because Pamela Smith was the lady who actually designed the deck. And in modern times, we call decks with the name of the person thinking the concept, but also we associated the name of the artist. So it's only right that we give credit to the lady who actually drew the cards. The reason why I recommend this is because one is very widely available and accessible and not expensive. It is very well known, so you can go online, you can buy books, and most of them will refer to these cards. So especially when you're starting, if you're looking for additional guidance, it will be very easy for you to find it. Disclaimer, it's not the most modern of the decks. There are a lot of men. Pretty much every single person is a white person. It's quite hierarchical. It's very... I mean, it's a deck that is almost 200 years, right? So it's not the most diverse and modern deck, but use it as a starting point to learn the cards. And then there are many, many different modern creators that take this as a starting point with more modern artwork, more diversity, and you can find decks with anything and everything. If you want something that has same-sex relationships, if you want something that has more variety in terms of ethnicity and skin colors, you can get that.
Sorry, if I have I have one like yours that you are showing now, but in Portuguese. So, of course,
that's fine. Universal language.
I know, but what is the one that you just said now? So I shouldn't buy another one.
No, that's fine. This is good. This is good. This is a similar version to this. Okay. I'm going to pick up those questions in a second. I want to make sure that we do the reading because I think that's quite juicy. And let me see, unless there is, can you repeat the name of the deck? Yes, I can actually write it for you. Smith. And it comes in slightly different versions. There is the original one. There is, well, this one is the giant. Don't buy the giant, it's too big. Okay, and can you work with more than one tarot deck at a time, or should you work with one deck until you feel more comfortable with reading tarot? I have many tarot decks, so I'm not one to tell you not to buy more than one tarot deck. I don't feel I I can preach that. But if you're learning, if you're a beginner, anchor yourself in one deck. And my suggestion is the Rider-Waite-Smith. And then as you expand your skill, yes, happily expand with different decks and find the one that really resonates with you. Okay, let's do the reading, and then we have plenty of time later on if we have questions. Now, we're going to look at the future, because there is an element to tarot that is future gazing, right? And there is an element to tarot that is guidance that we can take moving forward, going forward in our life. So I have a nice, juicy, empowering question that hopefully all of us can resonate with, and it will be helpful for everyone. So here is the question that I suggest we use for the reading. How can I enhance my relationships with loved ones and deepen our connection? So you can take this with your parents, your siblings, your children, your spouses, your partners, your best friends. Think about someone, it can be an individual or a group of people that you would like to get closer to you. Maybe you had some challenges in the past, maybe you had some misunderstandings, or maybe your intention is to expand and deepen that connection with that person or people. So how, right? Really nice way of starting an empowering question. How? Different options opens up to guidance. How can I enhance, right, my relationship or relationships with loved ones and deepen our connection? So this applies to all sorts of different aspects. And I would encourage you, if you do, for example, ancestral work, if you want to connect to someone who is not here in the physical realm anymore, this question works for that too. So if you want to work connect in a more deeper way with someone, maybe your parents who are no longer here on the physical plane, that works as well. Okay. How can I enhance my relationships with loved ones and deepen our connection? Okay. So just give you a moment to visualize who this person or people is for you, and really hold this question and hold the intention that the message and guidance that you receive is relevant, it's clear, it's expansive and empowering. And it gives you clear suggestions on how to move forward, how to enhance and deepen your connection. Okay. All right. Let's pick a card. Obviously, these times the cards are different. You're very welcome to pick the same number or to pick a different one. Just sit with that question, sit with the person or people that come to your awareness, and just go for whatever the first card that calls you is. And let me know in the chat, which card are you picking? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? And pick a card, just be guided by whatever your intuition, your pull. Maybe there is a number that you like. Just go with that. Okay. Lovely. Ready? So we're going to reveal cards. And once again, I'd like to remind you that I'm no good and no bad cards, okay? As we go into this. And again, if you're wondering, I picked these cards today. So they're nice and fresh for you. The latest guidance for your relationships. Okay, your cards. If you picked 1, it's the Wheel of Fortune. If you pick 2, it's the World. If you pick 3, it's the Knight of Swords. And if you picked 4, it's the 5 of Pentacles. Okay? So take one moment to connect visually, energetically, intuitively with the card that you selected. See what comes to you. Is there a detail, color, an element, a symbol in the composition that really calls to you? There's something that pulls you somehow. you would have noticed that the first two cards are majors. You know, we don't have clearly stated a suit. So the Wheel of Fortune and the World. So if you selected 1 or 2, you picked a major. If you selected 3 and 4, you picked a minor. In this case, Swords and Pentacles. So remember what we talked about at the beginning. Majors are big energies, big archetypes, big life changes, big cities to drive through. Major energetic shifts. And the suits, so in this case, the Knight of Swords and the Five of Pentacles, are minors. So their energy tend to be more practical, pragmatic, maybe connected to day-to-day things that you could be doing. Okay. And again, I really want to give you a moment to connect with these cards. And in a second, I'm going to go back to the question so that you can refer back to the question as well. So this was the question: how can I enhance my relationships with loved ones and deepen our connection? Remember context. We're not asking these cards to tell us about everything and anything. Focus on that. Okay. So hopefully you made a few notes and some guidance has come through. And I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to just read some of the aspects. Remember, we're focusing on relationships. And with this, I'm thinking anyone, parents, siblings, family connections, romantic connections, friendships, like anyone that is important to you, whether it is in the physical world or not. So I'm going to read these cards in that context, okay? And my intention is to talk about how you can enhance those relationships. I'm not going to talk about blocks. I'm not going to talk about what's wrong. I'm going to talk about how it is expansive. What can you do to take the relationship to the next level? Deeper, more fulfilling, enhance the relationship. So let's start with the Wheel of Fortune. For those of you who have picked 1. The Wheel of Fortune is an archetype of change. It's associated with the change of seasons, and it's associated with the natural change in nature. So it's change that happens at its own speed. It's not something that can be rushed or pushed. It's something that happens when it needs to. And it can be sometimes a little bit frustrating that it's not happening faster, or it can be a little bit frustrating that we cannot manipulate that time in a different way. So it can be frustrating that we cannot slow down or speed up time around the Wheel of Fortune. It is a card all about what comes around goes around. So there is a very much, again, as we saw a little bit earlier with the Pentacle cards, an element of giving and receiving. But the Wheel of Fortune also carries a little bit of a sense of adventure. You know, Wheel of Fortune, you know, perhaps makes you think about I don't know, throwing the dices and see what happens. So, you know, a roulette, or, you know, playing some sort of game. So there is also that element to this card. So when we pull it together in terms of relationships and how to enhance this relationship, it might be a relationship where reflecting on time, seasons of life, time that is needed for someone to do something needs to be accepted. So you might want someone to be committed to you in a certain way. They're not ready yet. You might want someone to be present in your life in a certain way. They're no more able to do that. So how do you enhance that? You appreciate the seasons of life, and that every season has something to offer. And you appreciate that there is a sense of exchange and mutual support. And that is very much a card sometimes also connected with contracts. I use this word, I'm going to use it, but I don't particularly like it. Karmic connections and soul connections. So there is that element to that card too. So something for you to reflect about is, how do you bring the natural, how do you accept and bring into the energy of this relationship the natural change of things, the resolution of those contracts, that what comes around goes around. So some things for you to reflect on that, and we can go into more details later on, but just I wanted to give you some details there. The word is another major card, and is actually the last card. There are 22 cards in the majors, but they're numbered from 0 to 21. The word is completion, is ending. So there might be an element here to this relationship that is suggesting that there is something that needs to come to an end. Maybe the old ways need to change. You need a reset. You need a fresh approach. But the word also, if we look at it from a very practical perspective, let's think about the globe. So it's connected with traveling and long distance and adventures and going out into the world. So it might be something where you can enhance a relationship with traveling or with expanding beyond what is already known. The word also, one of the interpretations of this is related to fulfilling your own needs, and you can see the main figure is quite contained, right? It's nice and contained into that little laurel circle. So in that case, like, is there a need for you to be a little bit more self-reliant within these relationships? And by doing that, that's actually going to deepen the relationship, okay? So again, something that to reflect on. And again, see what aspects resonate with you. But we have two majors, and some of the things that I've talked about are more like aspects of things that you might need to think about, shifts, seasons of life, etc. If you picked 3 or 4, we're going to go into the minors, right? And the realm of things that are more practical. So with the Knight of Swords, very frequently, this is about communication, and is about clear communication that is not cutting, rushed, abrupt, or too honest. So, you know, when people say, I'm just being honest here, right? But actually they're giving unrequired feedback, which I heard somewhere that like unrequired feedback is actually criticism. So with the Knight of Swords, it might be that to go one level deeper and enhance the communication, that relationship, really being more mindful of communication and how things are delivered, and clarity around that could really make a very big difference. And being the Knight, Knights are always connected with actions. So talking about our plans, talking about what is it that we're going to do, talking about logistics, talking about calendar arrangements, talking about very practical things might be something that really makes that relationship actually smoother and easier to navigate. But with the Knight of Swords, most likely there is a clarity and language aspect to it, and communication aspect to it. And finally, with the 4 of Pentacles, very often when the 4 of Pentacles comes up in the realm of relationships, there is maybe a bit of unbalance. There is maybe one person that is taking too much of the load on their shoulders. And it's more about empowering the person that feels like, you know, it's snowing and it's cold and we're here left to our own devices, almost like coaching them and letting them know all of the tools that they have and all the opportunities that they have. So moving from, I guess one way of describing it is, you know, fishing and giving a man a fish versus teaching someone to fish. So it's about empowering people to be more independent. And if you feel you're the one that needs to rely heavily on the other person, to actually see that there are options and support and opportunities for you available there. And the reference here in the card is, you see these beggars, and it's winter, it's cold, there is snow on the ground, but behind them there is a stained glass window, which is most likely a church, so a place where they could go in and get some shelter and be dry. one additional element that I'm going to put into this context, because we're talking about relationships, is sometimes this card talks about envy and jealousy, and it talks about that the grass always looks a little bit greener on the other side. So it's about really considering other people's perspective as a way of enhancing and deepening a relationship. Okay? All right. So tell me.
Can I say something?
Sure, of
Yeah.
course.
What came to me, I choose the second card. And what came to me was Seraphim, the 6 wings angel.
Yes.
To me, because of it has 4 heads, and the 4 heads, that was and then the second thing that came to me was her connection with the divine, with the infinite realm. And this was really like resonating with my the card was, I resonated with it, resonated with me, because I am connected to my dad, and he has passed on. He always used to pray, and the seraphim actually represents, because that's the job of the seraphim, is in a higher rank of angels, and they praise God, and that's what my dad used to do.
How beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So hopefully all of you had something. Ashley says, I don't know why, but can it predict pregnancy as well? The word card. Yes and no. Yes, it can. No, I don't recommend you predict pregnancy. It's a very delicate subject, and we're not doctors, and it's very important that we are very clear and boundaried when we do readings, especially if we do readings for others. So yes, it can talk about pregnancy, but pregnancy can mean very different things to very different people. So I would always suggest and highly, strongly encourage anyone and everyone not to predict death, not to diagnose anything, and not to go into the realm of pregnancies. But yes, it can indicate the presence of a baby. The reason why I say yes, it can, because you might have a client that comes to you and is very visibly pregnant, and that's the card that is describing that person at that time. So yes, it's possible, but maybe using it in a non-predictive way. Okay, good. So we have lots of people who have resonated with this. So hopefully we're coming to an end of our 90 minutes together, but already hopefully in this 90 minutes you'll learn a little bit of the structure of the tarot. The tarot knows you, and that you know tarot better than you perhaps thought. There is a tool that you can apply to all sorts of different contexts, and hopefully with the end of day card exercise, I've also given you an idea of how you can start working with the cards yourselves. Now, before we go into wrapping up things and finishing off, if there is a question that you asked and I have missed, please type it in the chat again.
We've got 3 questions, Soleil.
Go for it. Okay. What questions are there?
Sarah, Harley, I chose card 2. I felt the need to be more vulnerable and not to try to limit myself. Sorry, more of a statement.
Yes, absolutely, with the word. Yes, absolutely. There is something very freeing and empowering in the word just being naked. And I think probably if they designed the card in different times, it would have been completely naked, but it has a little bit of a piece of cloth just to cover her modesty.
So yeah, then Ash asks, just wants to know, not predicting for anyone, just a thought.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Ash, spot on.
How do you know if the card refers to the person or someone in their lives?
Amanda, amazing question. Thank you. Depending on the position of the card. So as we go into more complex readings, we will start the reading with more than one card, and we will create spreads that have different positions. So it will be very clear, depending on where the card is positioned, depending on the question that you have asked and the context, said that word quite a few times. I always say the word context. Whether a certain card is representing you or is representing somebody else. So it's a specific technique on how you place it in a specific spread in a specific position, which, by the way, we course.
Sorry, and then recommend reversing cards. So I'm guessing the upside down card or.
So reversals. I love that you are asking all like the juicy, controversial questions. Reversals are another controversial topic. We covered that in the course as well. So reversals. The short answer is a personal choice. I don't read reversals. I don't feel the need to, but reversals can be very helpful if you want to read in an easier, faster way energies that are actually blocked or they haven't come into fruition yet. My suggestion would be you need to make an agreement with your deck, and either you read them or you don't read them. So if it comes up, then you know what is that mutual agreement. So their reversals, yes, I read them. For me, if one card for whatever reason is upside down, I just turn it around. I don't care. But if you made that agreement with your deck, then agree what is it that it would mean. So is it a blocked energy? Is it an opposite energy? Is it an energy that is subconscious? Is it an energy that hasn't come into fruition yet? So yes, some people love doing that. So lots of my students use reversals as well. Personally, I don't. But it's personal choice, and one way isn't better than another one. It's just preference.
So I'm not sure. I just wanted to mention a couple of things coming up that I think are really important around this course that you're doing. One is that we've recently accredited this course, which has given it some real gravitas if people are wanting to, we all do different things, but if you are looking for accreditation, recognition with the School of Intuition and Healing, and also together we have, we accredit the course, that people are aware of that. And that also there's a code of ethics that we work to, because some ethical questions have come up during the chat. These are things that are very dear to us, and with how, the integrity that you work with the deck, and then the backing up of that within these accreditations with our accreditation board and the school. So for those of you who are keen to learn, there is that on top of just, we've all learned something tonight, right? We've all had a reading tonight. We've all become a little bit clearer around what it is. So I just really, that's from my side, and I'm not sure what further you would like to say or share with the group before I finish off.
So I just did a very quick copy and paste in the chat of what we're going to cover every week. It's a very comprehensive program, and that's just beginners. But really my intention with holding space for this course is to empower you to expand and to empower you to receive good, practical, expansive guidance for yourself and for others. So it's an extremely fun, supportive environment. The homework is interesting. The code of conduct is not too heavy. The community is amazing. There are some of my former students here tonight that will tell you the friendships, the connection, the love and support is amazing. And I had people like meeting again after past lives that they had together, meeting again on the tarot course. So some really incredible connections. It is structured, which means that it's safe, and which means that if you don't feel you're intuitive, or if you feel the tarot has been overwhelming for you so far, we really break it down step by step. This evening gives you an idea of how I teach and the style of the things that we're going to do together. It has been tried and tested so many times, and every time it gets upgraded a little bit. So really you're going to get the best of the best so far. So I would love to have you join. We don't have, unfortunately, an infinite amount of spots. So if you're interested, reserve your spot, take advantage of the discount until tomorrow. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or the school. I'm very happy to answer any practical questions around the logistics and how the course is going to be.
Yeah. And Soledad, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge in context. And the other thing that will happen in one of these courses, there will be transformation. Underpinning the wisdom of the tarot, each person will arrive at the end of this 10 weeks different because they've shared information. So really beautiful. Thank you for the fun tonight, for sharing with us. Each and every one of you, thank you for being here, staying on the call, playing full out. It's really been a fantastic evening, and we are very, very grateful to you for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. And we look forward to seeing everyone at the school very soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, bye,
Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you.